Yes. Yes. Yes.
We'll see no more. My great love for America is driving me forward. Turn your radio dial all the way to the right, America, and learn the truth. It's time for Pep Talk with me, Preston Pepper.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope we're on. It looks like we're on. Here I am, one more time behind the microphone, talking to America, talking to the people I love. It's sweltering hot in here, and I'm going to tell you something. I just had a run-in the hallway with the new landlord, Nicholas Kleptomaniakis, the Greek man who owns this place, and he said he's going to get us out of here. He doesn't want any of our type of people in here. You know, he's a clear liberal. He wants us out. He's probably one of these old unionists, and I said over my dead body, it's going to take a little bit more than turning off the air conditioning to get me and Rich out of this place. I will tell you, and you know how I keep my cool. I want to show you people something right now. It's a press kit. It's not a Chinese menu. It's a full-color press kit, and starting tomorrow, I'm going to be making the rounds and offering the good people of Rockland County an opportunity to advertise on Rockland World Radio, where they can reach out to at least 67 million people a minute. That's the kind of draw we're getting right now. It's incredible. I am getting people from Lithuania calling up. The phone keeps ringing. They say, Pep, we love your show. You're the only man who's telling it like it is. These liberals want us to believe out and out lies, but we know better, Pep, because we're watching Pep Talk. Thank you, God. You know, tonight on Pep Talk, we will be talking about the big guy a little bit. Some very strange things are going on in this country, and, first of all, the ridiculous notion that there could be a separation of church and state. If there was no God, there'd be no church, and if there was no church and there was no God, clearly there'd be no state. I mean, it's the most ridiculous concept I've ever heard of. How can you separate creation from creation? I am completely baffled by that, but that's what happens when you're dealing with liberals. They have no sense of logic. By the way, we got such a reaction, such positive reaction when we told the people out there about the kind of shows that we were going to be bringing to Rockland World Radio with our new process of hybridization. And, I was on the phone this morning to Steve, the truck-driving son of America, and he was having his coffee and getting ready to make his rounds on his route. And Steve came up with a couple of ideas. He said, Pep, you probably, like we do out here in St. Louis, have a large Latino population. And I said, that we do, Steve, that we do. And he said, it's not that far in the future. Christmas is not that far in the future. This is America. You got to start your shopping early. And, why not a Latino Christmas special? And I said, what are you getting at, Steve? And then he said, Pep, it struck me like a bolt of lightning this morning in the bathtub. Santana Claus! I said, my God, Steve, do you ever stop thinking? He says, Santana Claus. Santana is going to take over the job of Santa Claus, and he is going to travel the world cautioning children to stop their evil ways. I said, my God, only a child of the 60s like you or me could have come up with something like that. My God, Steve, you never cease to surprise me. Steve also had another great idea. These auction shows are all the rage these days. Everybody loves to get in on the action with these auctions. And to tell you the truth, we're going to be doing that here now at Rockland World Radio. I'm going to pull a few strings now that I've become a laird. I don't have my hat tonight. It's at the dry cleaners. And this is going to be an incredible opportunity for people to basically place bids on some very exotic merchandise. The show is going to be called a Scotland Yard sale, and basically what we're going to be doing is auctioning off stuff that Scotland Yard has confiscated from apprehended criminals, and nobody apparently is putting in a claim for, and it's going to be quite a show. We've got a couple of Scotland Yard ex-inspectors who we are currently auditioning to see which one of them would be the most photogenic and the most successful at the kind of part we are doing. It's incredible. It's incredible. Well, getting back now to what I was talking about, Scotland. I'm always talking about Scotland since I became a laird. There's some strange news up in Scotland. Today, the Scottish Parliament passed a bill, or whatever they call it, which will legalize same-sex marriage. And you can imagine that people in Scotland are very concerned. They say that this is going to make it extremely difficult to know who's wearing the kilt in the family. I don't know what they're going to do about this. You've heard what I have said repeatedly about gay marriage here, there, and everywhere. I told the gay people, told them I really didn't want to see them making the same mistake that old Pep had made almost 9 times. That was getting married. And then I also thought that it was very strange that a group, the gay people, who for so long had been persecuted and sought to demonstrate their normality, would do so by embracing an institution which is probably the most abnormal institution in the entire realm of human existence. Marriage. I mean, gosh, marriage has to be the craziest thing, as my dad, Red Pepper, used to say. He used to say, Pep, why buy the cow when the milk is free? And believe me, there's plenty of milk out there. Well, anyway, I don't know what's going to happen in Scotland. I guess they are going to have the same problems determining who's wearing the kilt that we're having in the United States. There's also a film festival going on in Edinburgh, which I, of course, was invited to. My good friend Sean Connery wanted me to come, but I can't. I have to take care of some business here in the United States. It's very difficult for me right now, basically straddling 2 different continents. Well, Scotland's not a continent, it's a part of the British Isles, but you know what I mean. I'm on 2 sides of the Atlantic, and I am being run ragged trying to keep everything kosher. It's a daunting task. I said to Sean I would love to come and see what you guys are putting on, but in lieu of my coming, I sent a few cases of Glenbeck Scotch, and I hope that is going to make everybody happy. Well, you know, a lot of things are going on right now, and right off the bat I want to mention that I am basically playing, as the Spanish say, the Rodriguez this week, and I am all alone. Bubbles has taken the 2 lovely daughters up to a Wagner festival up in the mountains. She's going to be seeing the Ring Cycle, I believe. The children refuse to see anything but the classics, which is further evidence of their high, their high pedigree. They will not listen to rock and roll. They will not listen to pop music. It's got to be Wagner. It's got to be Beethoven. It's got to be the classics. That's what these kids thrive on. That's what these kids love. They really wanted me to come. They were crying when Bubs told them that Pep couldn't come. Pep is too busy taking care of so many issues that he's just about out of gas. She said, you know that Pep would love to come, girls. He'd love to sit out there in the open air and listen to the Ring Cycle, to listen to Siegfried and the Dragon and all of those people, but he's got his own problems, and she's right. In fact, my task at the moment, vis-a-vis her dad, Ebenezer McAdoo, is almost Wagnerian. We did a run-through today for his Viking funeral, and, we didn't fire the arrows, but we had the Valkyries, which we have finally been able to recruit from a Christian college in the neighborhood. The girls are wonderful. At first, they were a little put off by the fact that they might be participating in some kind of pagan ritual, but Dominique Simon pulled out his French, and he charmed them all, and he said to me, you know, Pep, this is going to be very difficult because I have to, find out how to cook this Viking food. Dominique has really gone all out for Ebenezer, and I suppose the reason is he wants to make friends with the man. Who wouldn't want to be friends with the richest man in the world? And we did it, and we went through the rehearsals, and it looked pretty good. And we've got a workable Viking craft, which we had handmade in Oslo and flown in, and it looked pretty good. And but when you're dealing with people as capricious and as rich as Ebenezer McAdoo, you never know what's going to happen. I said, "Do you like what you see?" And he says, "Yeah, I guess so. But Pep, I got to talk to you." And I said, "I've really, really been working hard." He says, "I know you've been working hard, and I know Dominique has been working hard, and the girls look great, but Pep, I want to tell you something. I'm not so sure now. I want a Viking funeral." And I said, "Well, what do you want?" He says, "Well, Pep, how do I tell you this?" I said, Ebenezer McAdoo, this is Pep. This is Preston Pepper, your prospective son-in-law. I've been working like a slave to get this Viking funeral together, and Andy has basically stopped burying people up the hill at Fairchild. We want this to be perfect for you." He says, "Pep, I'm not so sure I want to go the Viking way." And we said, "Well, which way would you like to go?" He says, "Pep, yesterday I was looking at a book." I said, "Okay." And I was looking at some pictures. And I said, "Okay." And I said, "I don't think I want a Viking funeral." I said, "Well, then what do you want, Ebenezer?" He said, "I want a pyramid." I said, wow. You want a pyramid, and I suppose you want to be embalmed as well." And he says, "How do you read my? You're reading my mind." And I said, "Well, okay. Normally I would be put out, but sir, for you, I will just forget it, and I'll start working on having a pyramid built." He said, "But I'm not so sure yet." He said, "In fact, I don't really feel like getting buried or embalmed or anything just right now. I'm going to wait a while on that, but bear in mind that I'm still thinking about it." And I said, "We're all thinking about it, Ebenezer. This is the kind of stuff I have to put up with Bubbles' family. They're wonderful, wonderful people, but they're rich and eccentric, and sometimes it can drive you crazy. So Bubbles is away, and I'm just sitting around, and I'm trying to take advantage of the situation. While she's away, I've tried to use my time as wisely as possible, and yesterday we were doing a rehearsal out at the theater at Eagle's Claw that Bubbles' grandfather had built. Basically he was having an affair with Sarah Bernhardt, people say, and he wanted a place where she could sing to him, so he had a full-scale replica of Carnegie Hall constructed out there, and it's a nice little place, where you can just sit there and relax. But we're putting it to good use, and we were doing a rehearsal of the show I plan to star in this fall on Rockland World Radio, Mike Hamlet, Shakespearean detective. And it was so nice that Sean Connery just picked up and said, "I can't do it in Edinburgh." He said, "You'll have to find somebody to replace me in the film festival." And they said, "Okay, Mr. Connery." And he came on over for a couple of days, and he wanted to see what we were doing. And, he took one look at me out there playing Mike Hamlet. I just was looking out there, and I was playing my character, and I said, "To be or not to be, that's the question." And he just started clapping, and he said, "Bravo, Pep! So this is what you mean. This was what you meant when you mentioned Spillane Spear. This is one of the most incredible, revolutionary breakthroughs in drama that I've ever seen." And Connery says to me, Sean, he's my great friend now, he says, "Laird, I want to play Inspector Horatio." Can you believe that? He wants to play the great Sean Connery, the greatest James Bond of all time. He wants to play Inspector Horatio. I was so honored. I said, "But Yes, well, okay, James, you can do that. You can do that. You can play Shakespeare, but, I mean, Spillane Spear, you can be Horatio, but, okay. Well, I said yes, and now it looks like I'm going to have some trouble with Pacino because my good friend Al Pacino also wants to play Inspector Horatio. I don't know how I'm going to work this out. It started off as a great idea. We were going to combine Mickey Spillane and William Shakespeare, and we've come up with this incredible hybrid product, Spillane Spear. And, you know, there are only so many roles to go around. And everybody wants a piece of the action, but that's what happens when you're hot. When you're hot, and you just have to go with it. You know, meanwhile, other things have been happening, and I got a phone call. And the phone call was from my good friend, the town tailor, Miss Lisa. And Miss Lisa called to thank me for, you know, being such a good friend, and then she just broke down. She broke down, and she said, Pep, I should have known. I should have known. I should have known. I said, what should you have known, dear lady? She said, I should have known that handyman that I was going out with. That handyman that I was going out with. I said, yes, you know, was that Mike, the one who wanted to be paid off in meat? She said, yes, it was. He wanted to be paid off in meat. He said, he was. I said, what was he? Was he an alcoholic? She said, no, he didn't drink a drop. So what was he then? She said, he was a liberal. Oh, my God. I said, you want to come on over to Eagles Claw? We'll have tea, and we'll talk about it. And she said, no, I don't want to come over, Pep. I just need to talk. So we talked for a while on the phone, and she spilled out her heart to me. This man, this liberal, this handyman, he had taken her in. He had taken her in, and I know what that is like, because we all know my story. I was seduced by the vixen of the right, Ann Coulter, who turned out to be nothing else but a double agent. An insidious liberal who was intent on nothing more than dragging the Republican Party, America, and God down. That's about as bad as it gets. So I listened intently, full of sympathy, full of empathy for this woman who has done me so many favors. Anytime a button falls off, she sews it on for free. And she said, she should have known, she should have known. He read The Nation, but she didn't really know what that meant. The Nation, it seemed so patriotic. And he read The New Republic. Republic sounds like Republican? And he read The Times, but who knows, you know? And he didn't read the Post, he read the Times. She said, that's when I should have been suspicious. And he mentioned the Plato's Republic, which she had thought was a harmless sex club. No, it turned out he was a liberal, and his only motive was to drag her down and convert her to that insidious philosophy, that disease known as liberalism. Fortunately, she was able to break away when cold turkey, or wild turkey, or whatever, some kind of turkey, and now she doesn't know what to do. Well, I said, Lisa, tonight I'm going to have to come by in my Avante and take you to a Lebanon meeting. This has to be nipped in the bud. You think you've broken away from liberalism, but it's like a tick bite. It's deep inside of you, and we got to get this exercise. The Father Tony will be there, and so will Doc Rubin. We'll do what we can. We are going to help you because you're good people. And she said she had also been taking notes, and she's thinking of writing a book about her terrible experiences. As she was seduced by liberalism, the book is going to be something else. She's got a great title. The title is Taylor Trash. And it's a book that old Pep thinks is going to keep you in stitches. I mean, that's my line. I fed it to her for free. I really love that woman. She's a great friend of mine. And the fact that she could be subjected to something as vile as liberalism, to be seduced and abandoned the same way old Pep had been, it really made me feel terrible. But that's life. That's the way it is in America. We just have to keep on fighting. We have to keep on fighting. And in spite of that, we try to live our lives. But the news is bleak, America. The news is bleak. The liberals have decided to take over the churches and silence God. That's what my good friend Reverend Beam has said to me. I said, what do you mean, silence God? He said, there's a new kind of Christian, Pep. I said, what do you mean there's a new kind of Christian? He says, these are the kind of Christians. These are the kind of Christians who say that Christianity and liberalism can coexist. Have you ever heard of anything more ridiculous? And I said, well, I've heard a lot of things in my times, but that's up there on the top of the list. He said, these are the kind of people who say they're Christians and yet they endorse a complete liberal agenda. You know what I call them, Pep? I call them abort again Christians, and you know why? Because they're pro-choice. They are against God. They want to infiltrate the congregations of the United States. They want to get the keys, change the lock, and effectively lock God out of his own house. Oh, they say that God is just a cross between Santa Claus and J. Edgar Hoover. What do you think of that, Pep? And I said, whoa. That's quite a reach, isn't it? He says, you bet it's quite a reach. They hate God. They're twisted people. They're pro-choice and against the death penalty. Is there anything more twisted than that? To kill an unborn innocent and allow a convicted murderer, perhaps somebody who murdered your mother, to live? I said, my God, that is twisted. Any good conservative would rather save the unborn innocent and put the guilty murderer to death. That makes sense to me, Reverend, but this is insanity. To kill the innocent and pardon the guilty. I can't believe it, but I said, Reverend, I have spent my whole life in the trenches, in the culture wars, and I'm going to tell you something. I am never, ever surprised by what the liberals will sink to. My God, does that make you sick? You know, I told them further, they are such liars. They're not like conservatives. You know, somebody once said to me, Reverend, that we're all the same. We're all the same, except that the conservatives are the hangman and the liberals are the prison chaplain. And I said, well, at least we keep our word. We give them exactly what we say we're going to give them. The liberals, on the other hand, are talking to the condemned and promising him that he's going to a better place. They're always out there trying to twist the truth. It's a horrible thing that's happening. And in the meantime, I want to tell you another horror story. It's a little bit different. There's a monster out there, boys and girls, and I'm not talking about the Wolfman, and I'm not talking about Frankenstein, and I'm not talking about Bigfoot. The color of this monster is green. It's a green monster. A green monster, boys and girls, and its initials are EPA. A story's just come in to old Pep through his sources that one farmer, John, was fined $700,000 with compound interest for peeing on his front lawn. Can you believe that? He peed on his own lawn and he's now being fined for $700,000. It's enough to scare the pants off of you. What is happening to the America I love? What is going on? This isn't my America. Is this Michael Moore's America, or you know whose America? It must be, because in my America, I got the right to piss on my own lawn. Well, what happened was apparently the EPA said that his urine contained certain chemicals also in the drinking water, which are restricted by the EPA. Now, because the water company has an exemption from the regulations, he can run his faucet all he wants. But the good farmer has no such status for his own body. Consequently, he can run his faucet, but he cannot piss on his own lawn. You go figure it. And he's another victim of the green monster. It's enough to scare the pants off you. I am getting so tired of these ecologists just preaching this Green Poppycock. I got a good mind to write a book, and I got a great title for it. Green. Green like rotten meat. I am going to tell the world exactly what is going on in the name of saving it. They are going to drag us down. They are going to leave us defenseless. They're going to leave us to freeze out in the December cold. And that's what the liberals want. Mark my words, they don't care about you or me or anybody else. All they care about is pushing their insane agenda. They talk all the time about China's new high-speed train. Well, I'm going to tell you something about that high-speed train. It's going at half speed because they don't have enough electricity. They don't have enough electricity to power it. Why couldn't they have settled for a regular train? Because they had to show off that they were going green. No such thing exists. It's completely fictitious. It is something that was dreamed up in a liberal think tank to make us scared. Sure, it's getting warmer. There's always been fluctuations in the temperature. We all know it. Some days are hot, some days are cold. Do you need a degree from MIT to understand this? I don't. Everybody talks about the weather. Nobody does anything about it, and that's what Mark Twain said, and that's good enough for me. Enough said. So anyway, here we are again, and we're running into the end of the show, and I'm going to take another opportunity to say something to you. You're probably sitting around the house many days each week wondering why there isn't something fine to watch. Well, there is something fine to watch. There is Rockland World Radio. We are branching out, and you can help us. You can help us by advertising on our radio station. If you want to see Pep Talk disappear, well, all you have to do is simply nothing. But if you want the high-quality program that has you peeing in your pants, and let's hope the EPA doesn't find out about that, or you may be paying $700,000 in a penalty with compound interest, what you got to do is what Bubbles McAdoo does. You got to get out that checkbook. You got to get that pen in your hand, and you got to say, Richard, how many zeros? And you got to write it in there, and you got to buy some advertising, because if you get advertising with this radio station, with this soon-to-be world-dominating media company, you'll have old Pep in your corner, and you'll be advertising with the likes of guys like Andy at Fairchild's Funeral Parlor, out on Broadway in Nyack, where we say, them what dies will be the lucky ones, and nobody will get buried alive. You know what Andy does? He hits each corpse on the head with a hammer before they lower them down. He has never, to his way of thinking, ever buried anybody alive. You will not get buried by burial cost, and Andy is ready to stretch for you. Have a topless wedding. Have a Viking funeral. We'll build you a pyramid. We will do what it takes to send you to the other world. But you gotta act now. We need money. We need lots of money. We want to throw an incredible stag party for Richard when he gets married. We gotta pay off this Greek kleptomaniacus. We gotta do a lot of things. So
It's an election year.
Is it an election year? Well, and I'm running. I am running. So what you got to do right now is get out that checkbook and do your best imitation of Bubbles McAdoo. I know it's difficult, but it can be done. It can be done. Repeat after me. How many zeros? How many zeros? How many zeros? How many zeros? It's getting down to crunch time. These liberals want to silence us. Do you want the voice of truth silenced? Do you want to have to listen to Conan for the rest of your life? I think not. I'm handsomer than Conan. That's what a lot of women say down at the lighthouse. So let's get on with it right now. Let's help us help you. You know who we are. You know where we are. We know what you need. God bless you. Sign those checks and send them in. That was a short one tonight.
Actually, you're just at 30 minutes. Short, but full of punch and depth and dimension.
Yeah, there was a lot of dimension tonight, I'll tell you.
A lot of dimension there. You got intimate with them.
Oh, they love me.
They do. They do. They do. Yeah, the archive numbers are really quite...
That's outstanding.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And there are a lot of likes, too.
That's right, and that don't lie.
Oh, tomorrow I gotta start making some more calls.
Don't lie, that don't lie. They could be part of our Nyack Film Festival, the first ever. Well, they missed the first. We're gonna have one in the winter.
Wow, is it hot? That's the new landlord's name, Kleptomaniacus.
They're a piece of work. They put a lock on the thermostat. I don't mind it being this warm. I just have to turn the.
They're like, you mean they're that cheap that they're locking the thermostat? When are they gonna get that fucking restaurant up? You know, like a restaurant that's closed is like an airplane with no people in its seats. You know, you never get that back. You know what I'm saying, Richard?
I do. They're ridiculous.
I mean,
I cannot understand for the life of me how people do business. I don't. I mean,
Rich,
I know what I do. I try to improve what I'm doing, get there a little faster.
do you know how long they've taken to build this thing?
And it's taken, well, there have been townhouses.
Constructed faster.
No. Restored, which takes over a year. I can understand taking the pyramids and all that. I can understand taking a long time on construction. You want it done right, you want it done right. I understand something could take over a year, absolutely. The fact is, there are townhouses much smaller that have taken over a year. Of course, they're meticulous with restorative quality again, like cherry wood or this.
Yeah, okay, that's art. That's art.
But this is an entire building. They bid off way more.
than they could chew.
That's the problem. And that idiot who they're not even talking to each other now. There's a little infighting now over the top. Now that the rest of us, they got us all on our new leases, they got air conditioning, and everything's fine. They're not talking to each other. What was my point? Oh, the restaurant. So they're doing something so big, that idiot tells me 40 days. I told you, 40 days. Well, in 40 days, I had no heat, and winter was upon us.
I remember that.
And rather than be, after that kind of statement, I'm very reluctant to know that they're in charge of anything.
Well, they got this huge restaurant that's still dormant after all of this time. They're losing money on it. They took on this tremendous thing, and they're going to be serving the kind of food that has to be sold in volume. It's not value-added food. It's going to have, they have a liquor license?
They're very slow in what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. All I know is that I got to pay my rent once a month. It's gone up $1,000 in the last 3 months. So my pedal has been to the middle in order to send out, get a slot with us, get this with us, spend money with us, so we don't have to, I don't know what, rent it out to somebody else who wants to use the space more than I have time for.
I'm going to be on the phone so late.
Gotta get on the phone, get on the horn, get some stuff going on, because we need to pay for this stuff, or else we're not gonna be here. I mean, I can't.
Richard, I'll do what I can humanly do. I got a few contacts I'm going to hit really hard. The film festival, the film society.
Civil society would be a great link off to them. They're not even part of our damn film festival. I mean, talk about lame.
I'll get in touch with Natasha tomorrow.
Talk about lame ass, and I'm not saying that Rockland is gonna be the smartest, I think, we managed to get Whole Foods up here, they were giving out, see the Whole Foods?
Yeah.
Watching Whole Foods, we're legit in our thing. You know who we had here the other day? I told you we had.
Yes, the singer, the winner from the contest.
That's him. Yeah, let me show you what it looks like. Oh, actually, it's over here. But anyway. Oh, yeah, let me turn those lights off. so they were here, and that was a great concert, really good. Santa Claus.
That one came to me just before it went on.
Santa Claus. It's also like Saint too.
Santana.
You want this. You want.
What's the issue?
I'll go in one else.
No, I know the back, I mean, I got a good back read on these shows I'm doing, you know. I built up a fairly good fan base.
Absolutely. And that shows. And that's what it takes. You know, tell them, you're on we're on a great leap forward, as Mount St. Tongue would have. A great leap forward, and you want to reach 1,000 by September. You're almost there. So tell them you're on a big pep drive. Pep drive.
1,001.
$1,000.
You know, I mean, I'm sorry, you know, you say 1,000.
$1,000, 1,000 viewers,
You know what I think we should do?
great leap forward. We're going, actually, I'm going to 200,000, that's my number, by January 1st. We're already up at like in the 60,000 category, closing in on 70,000. So, another 140,000. You know,
You mean people watching it or people paying? People watching it.
not a dollar.
You'd be okay.
I could leave you. If I was getting $68,000 a month. If you'd have to keep these for a while.
You know, we're going to be every human, it's a great debate. This one was a little rushed tonight, but you know, it's like I'm having a lot of domestic grief right now.
Yeah, me too. I'm having
Oh,
more
are you?
secret because I'm not home enough.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, yeah, it was you love that, you love that place, those people.
I'm getting exactly the
These
opposite. You're not
people.
out enough doing
These
anything.
people, you're making your choice, these people, it's like, come see this, you didn't even see this. Look at this, look at the new green room.
I remember when I got stoned here the first time I came here and wanted to do
Look
some.
at this. Now we have,
Remember when you had that township here and I spoke that meeting?
yeah, the landlord, that's when those were the good old days. That the people would complain, oh, the landlord sucks, the landlord sucks, and so, I've never seen him. He's the best landlord
Landlord
I've ever
ever.
seen, I've ever known. He doesn't bother me, except when he came up, he was fucking like you would love this guy. He's very pep, you must listen to,
The pep talk.
The pep diaries. 50 Shades of Pep. 50 Shades of Pep. The pep code, the pep code. So listen, so he came in here, he put all this stuff in you, those are his couches back there, all this shit, he locked it. Took the lock off my head on it, put a lock on it, wrote a sign, this is now the official room of management. And how did they, I'm happy to know, the old guy, I looked across the street, he came in like a tornado one day.
Oh, really?
And so I lost that room, I still had this one, and they wanted me for some more money. These guys came in, they wanted to double it, they wanted to freaking double it.
Yeah.
I don't understand, what they expect. In order to do theater, you need people to do theater. People need a dressing room. Dressing room, they did.
Look, these are fucking Greek
They don't know.
conduits. They're Greek conduits.
So they say they want theater, but then they're gonna squeeze it until I
What they
can't
want
make
is,
any money.
what they
How
want
Well,
You know,
no doubt, but.
You see, yeah, look.
But they say they want a theater, in the lease, it's like, leave the theater there, it's like, fuck you, I bought
Yeah,
it.
because they believe that somebody will pay a lot of money to have 30, 40 seats.
That's all it's got, cause everything else is coming with me. I got every curtain, every screw.
But you know what I'm saying, I mean, you
That's
know,
why I got
they're thinking,
seats.
look, Nichols, we got theater. You know, what are you gonna have, a jerk-off contest, pal?
Every night of the week. It don't happen.
They don't know what they're doing, but they spent a lot of money to buy this, it's like, Kathy is a friend.
They didn't spend that much money to buy this place. And they're certainly fucking screwing around with the budgeting on trying to get it restored. Because they got 3 Mexicans and that guy Paul, who's our age, older. Who's Paul? The old guy, the balding, the big guy with the small Jeep, the small
Yeah,
pickup truck.
and what they're working now, you mean the other one?
Yeah, one watches him, the other one watches the other one, and two of the Mexicans are working.
Thank God for that, or they'd never get this thing done. I mean, they need a
Once in a while, an electrician comes in.
they need a
and
5 or
does it.
7 man crew,
Once in a while.
a good rockers, good this, good that, you know,
They
and
had a few of them.
so they probably campaigned a bunch of.
They were here a little bit.
You know what happens when crews disappear? You know what it says to me, Richard? 'Cause I've done a little construction in my life. It says somebody's not paying the boys.
Yeah. And also, the town got them okay, but now who knows what the consequences. They should be able to be done in a month.
And that's what I would say, 2 months to do that big thing.
2 months, okay.
Because it is upstairs, downstairs, and you got,
November. I think there's a problem because one of the owners wanted to be open November 17th, and the guy who's here is thinking that's not doable. Modern Metro TV. Oh, I don't know if Modern Metro TV should buy Rockland World Radio. And Rockland World Radio now broadcasting on Modern Metro TV.
who's Modern Metro?
Me, us.
Oh, you're by yourself, I see you by yourself.
But it would give the people hear radio, they don't know, and then again, it's not TV though either. It's looking pretty well lit and all of that.
You know, I'm gonna give it my shot, Richard, and then if it doesn't happen, I'll have to think of another plan, you know?
Another plan or another time slot?
Yeah? I mean, one thing, I am bringing you viewers, I mean, I am doing something. And I'll try to sell it, but, you know, I'll do the best I can.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, are the businesses completely void of real viewers?
You know what I would do if I were you to do this? This is how I sold in a lot of stuff in my time. Why don't we throw a party, invite everybody here and show them what we can do? Another one.
I had a party over last weekend. We had Jermaine Paul here. I actually had entertainment. All right, it costs $15.
Did they buy anything?
For years.
No, but I'm talking, we sell insurance, you know, what we do is,
I sold the house and it cost $50. Do you know how much it costs to go to a freaking business networking event? You know how much they charge for things like that? How much? So do you think inviting them here for free, they're gonna come up?
No, but what do they, you guys have a selling table over
I
here?
had one last fall to introduce our fall season, the magazine.
How'd it do? You sell anything?
Hardly anybody came up.
This is a town with very little spirit, okay?
Hardly anybody came up. Let us show you everything new that's at Rock and Roll Radio, our new magazine, our new this, here's our listings, here's the Antiques Roadshow, here's the research listing that works like this. No one, and I had a movie ready, I had Bear Noor, I invited you, remember Bear Noor came up and belly danced for people.
All right, you know, I can't always make it.
Glenn Keane was here. Glenn Keane was doing a program, a couple of his people came up, Bear Noor came up, I paid her $100 to do a belly dance for people. I gave away wine and beer. No, there wasn't one
All
advertiser.
right, I mean, I'm just going through my own
There
experience.
wasn't one advertiser.
You know, because when I went over, when I was doing this thing a long time ago with my dad, that's how we sold schools in on a program, with these wine parties, I don't know.
I'd be happy to throw them a wine party. I'd give them 2 tickets. How about this? They get 2 tickets. They come on for a 13-week thing, X amount. We'll put that toward buying 2 tickets for them. I can get them 2 tickets to sold-out
Now, who do you
performances.
want to go after, everybody in the town? I mean,
This fucking town, it doesn't even have enough money.
what about Earmont?
Unless, you know who, there are some businesses here that could do it. Be Alive,
The lot.
she's got family money. It's a big national organization. she takes out a $500 payment in Rivertown, she takes out something in the Hook for more money for 1 month, and she has to do that every month.
He is. He said, you know, Pep, you probably, like we do out here in St. Louis, have a large Latino population. And I said, that we do. And he said, you know, it's not that far in the future. Christmas is not that far in the future. This is America. You've got to start your shopping early. And, you know, why are Latino Christmas special? And I said, what are you getting at, Steve? And he said, it struck me like a bolt of lightning this morning in the bathtub. Santa Claus! Ever stop thinking? He said, Santa Claus. Santana is going to take over the job of Santa Claus, and he's going to travel the world cautioning children to stop their evil ways. The child was 60 like you or me. Never cease to surprise me. Steve also had another great idea. You know, these auction shows are all crazy. Everybody loves to get in on the action with these auctions.
Have you gone after, what's that place, you know, the music club in Piermont, where they have like real guys sometimes?
No. But the Turning Point?
Yeah,
And,
No.
I'm gonna make a call about that.
I have a hard time getting out of here.
all right, I stick
But we do have 68 fucking thousand people, so me staying here is a good thing. No, I can't get down there because I'm booked every night of the week, except for Monday, and I still have to be here doing stuff. And Friday and Saturday night, I got bookings.
I know a couple of people, I'm gonna call them about that.
It's gonna be quite a show. We've got a couple of Scotland Yard ex-inspectors we are currently waiting to see. One of them would be the most photogenic and the most successful at the time. Or give him that now.
Scotland Yard sale.
Scotland. Talking about Scotland, so we came over there. There's some strange news up in Scotland. Today, the Scottish Parliament passed a bill, or whatever they call it, which will legalize same-sex.
What's happening?
My computer's giving me trouble. Is there getting a little bit?
We all are, Richard, we all are.
Okay, I'm just thinking Piermont, I've been spending a little time with Kathy down in Piermont. Piermont has a couple of nice places.
Yes, they do.
In fact, I wish I could live in Piermont instead of Nyack. I like the river. But it is far away. What
It's
time
not as far away, what, to get to?
No, I'm saying to do shopping and shit, you know?
People go down there to shop, but people advertise.
I'm not talking about that kind of shopping, it's like supermarket shopping and stuff, it seems a little bit tough. Like all these towns, they got no markets anymore, it's like,
Well, we have a market,
yeah, I know, big Korean place,
they're kind of like Old World.
but better. Well, no, less,
Less better.
less than Old World, better than our Korean.
Oh, yeah.
Our Korean is very kind. Oh, yeah, I mean, they probably go to the supermarket and buy half their products from retail and just double the price, and, you know, they get.
There's nothing less than Old World. And then the stationery store and stuff, there's your Costco, Regis, and all that.
You know,
They're good in a pinch, though, they've got a couple of,
Hey, look, if it's
they've
some,
got these videotapes that we use, probably I gotta get you the tape.
I bought mine over at Target.
Yeah, they give 6 of them.
Yeah. So I want to make a hit list. You're gonna be in at about 11 or 12 tomorrow? Now, I'll come on in, we'll look at a hit list. I wanna get out there and make some calls and stuff.
I gotta be very quick because I have an intern coming in that I have to spend time with in order to get the hit list
Penny, who would benefit from the fact we've actually broken out of the country a little bit, you know, in terms of, I wish there were more tourist-oriented businesses, because I've been able to get my show to Perth, and, you know, but, yeah, no. No, there's no hotel around here, that's the problem.
They should advertise with us, there's one on the list. I've been hammering away at them for years.
And what did
They
say?
know about us. You don't have it in the budget, Lisa Doss is one of them. In fact, we're having a Spanish night. Somebody should talk to them, because they got Spanish over this. Plus, I should
Who's
get up
Lisa
there.
Dodge?
That's her name, Lisa Doss, Parsagian is the name. I guess she remembers the name. So,
And she's doing a Spanish night?
No, we're doing a Spanish night. But they do salsa night.
Hey, you need some help on the Spanish night, I speak Spanish. Mingle and make
They
friends.
got, there's a dance, a couple of dancers and a couple of bands. And there's gonna be some food, some other things.
What time is it gonna be? What's it gonna be? When, what day, what day?
Oh, September.
Not tomorrow.
No, second weekend of September.
What is, that my show loading there?
No, it's, rendering, another movie I was in. That's what it opens,
When's the human getting back?
I don't know.
He's amazing,
He is.
He's gonna give himself an Oscar, though.
I'm the only local media doctor. If I was a doctor, I'm the only one who you can actually come and see, like a clinic up here, and like the media clinic. And we're doing the best we can. We can be doing a lot better. We're doing great. Let me show you these numbers, by the way, because I think you would be impressed with this. Here we go. See, usage statistics for Rock and Roll Radio. Sign in, boom. And here you see people looking for me now.
Did you give me my tape?